Hey Judy, it's October. It's pumpkin time.
Oh, Ryan, no it isn't. It's garden time. Welcome to Garden Time, and it is October, and there's lots of fall festivals happening, so check around your area and get out and enjoy this weather.
Coming up on the show today, we'll show you how to plant a fabulous fall container and some early spring bulbs.
We'll also be telling you about what those numbers mean on a fertilizer bag.
But coming up first, some great fall plants for our second season.
I'm at Portland Nursery on Stark Street today talking about second season. And if you don't know what second season is, I'm with Sandra, who's the color person here at Portland Nursery. So what is this term, second season?
Well, you know, so many people consider the garden primarily from the spring aspect. We really like to consider second season as being an excellent time to come into the garden center, look and see what's blooming, and plan basically for all of those things that are going to happen next spring. And clearly this is a premier time of the year to be putting perennials, trees, shrubs in the ground. They get a good foothold, the rains come, and then they're ready to go in the spring.
Yeah, and I think because some of us only go shopping in the spring, and so you only have a spring color, and you would miss out on so many plants.
Exactly. We're all beguiled by the exuberance of spring, clearly.
Sure.
And we forget that fall has its own real special magic.
Right, and you have picked some of that magic for us, so tell us all about these.
Well, these are some of the plants that I just absolutely think are stellar in the both the perennial border and the shrub border. Clearly we have the standout at this time of the year, the asters. And the asters can vary in size from small to large, great color variation, and they're just a stalwart in the fall garden. I just love the asters.
Beautiful.
Secondarily, let's look at the hibiscus. I'm sticking with sun and then we'll go to shade,
okay,
if that works.
Sure.
So this is a hibiscus that we just got in, which, I mean, as you can see,
wow,
it matches
big.
you.
Yes, it sure does.
It does. And that dark foliage just makes this a standout in the sunny border. Big, luscious blooms. The bees go wild over it. So this would be, the hibiscus really are a wonderful addition. Fall, clearly the anemones.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the anemones from that
ones?
size
Sure.
to taller ones.
Right.
And you know the thing that I love about the anemones, because of their stems, they're so kinetic in the wind.
They are.
When they blow, it is so lovely to see the anemones. Another excellent fall bloomer are the tricertus.
Whoa, look at that.
They're pretty quiet up until the fall, and then we get these gorgeous, almost orchid-like blooms on them that just in the shade garden are a real standout. I love the tricertus.
They're just so unique because they look like a tropical orchid, but they're hardy here. So
Totally
wonderful.
hardy. The only issue that you need to be aware of, slugs love them.
So bait.
Of
Bait,
course.
bait. Sure.
Another couple of things, kind of newer plants to us. This hellebore, which I absolutely love, this mottled foliage.
Mm-hmm.
As you and I were talking about it earlier, it really doesn't matter whether it flowers or not. It's so gorgeous.
And which is the name of that one?
This one is Snow Fever.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And just gorgeous. And this one is one of my personal favorites. Look at the color of those leaves.
Look at that.
It is just a fabulous, this is Silver Veil.
And the stems, that's very unusual.
Look at the stems. And of course, because of the stem color, I had to bring a heuchera to show next to it to pick up those gorgeous, deep, kind of red stems.
Beautiful. And then we can watch the hellebores in January, February. Excellent.
Exactly.
And this is Forever Purple?
That's Forever Purple.
Wonderful. And going into the purple, look at this crepe myrtle. So unique. It's beautiful.
Again, you and I were talking about how crepe myrtles are such an underappreciated plant here because they do flower so late. And typically, we get the lagostromias into the center a little later in the season when it really starts warming up. This one is the Lunar series. And the nice thing about this is that so far it seems to be completely mildew resistant.
Wow, that's great.
Which is great because nothing ruins a gorgeous dark leaf plant like powdery mildew.
Right, right.
But the lagostromias, of course, full sun, real hot position, but they are just gorgeous this time of year.
Amazing. And you know, Sandra is also one of the people that takes care of the beautiful strip in front of the Portland Nursery on Stark Street, always different seasonal color. Come into Portland Nursery on Stark Street or on the Division store and really get some of these beauties for your fall interest garden. Sandra, thanks so much. It was so interesting.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Is your garden in need of refreshment? Hi, I'm Sarah, and there are plenty of things in bloom at Portland Nursery. Come check out our beautiful fall color to perk up your garden. At Portland Nursery, we consider fall the second season, and the gardening opportunities are endless. Establish next year's trees, replace lettuce and greens, or get a jump on onions and garlic. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people, on 50th and Stark and 90th and Division, or at portlandnursery.com.
Every year, trees fall or break, causing property damage, power outages, and injury.
Now is the time for Bartlett Tree Experts and Collier Arbor Care to get your trees ready for the extreme conditions ahead.
Our free consultation will help to spot the signs of potentially hazardous trees.
We can help address problems before they occur. Whether it's trees or shrubs, we can help you get a healthy and beautiful garden.
Collier Arbor Care and Bartlett Tree Experts, providing environmentally safe tree care since 1907.
The biggest sale of the year is on now. Huge savings on perennials, trees and shrubs, pottery, patio furniture, and more. Don't miss it. Our biggest sale of the year is on now. Al's Garden and Home in Woodburn, Sherwood, Gresham, and Wilsonville.
Nestled in the oaks of the Willamette Valley is a nursery that is truly exceptional. At Out in the Garden Nursery, you will find a vast array of shade plants, ornamental grasses, and hardy perennials. Let us help you bring color and texture into your garden. We offer over 100 types of perennials. Many of our plants are evergreen for year-round interest. Plus, we offer the best in personal attention. Out in the Garden Nursery, where we grow great gardens one plant at a time.
So we have a great idea for you for some spring color. Planting bulbs now that will come up in the spring. So what you want to do is get a container, or you can even plant the bulbs in the ground. But always use for containers, use black gold soil or any other great soil, because you want to have great drainage and you don't want to bring in unnecessary pests that you would dig up from soil from your garden. So we filled this up almost to the way, to the top of the pot. We're going to leave some planting room. And so we have some daffodil bulbs here. So we didn't listen to our own tips, and we were digging around in the garden this summer and we dug up some daffodil bulbs, but we saved them until now to plant again. So the daffodil bulbs are going to be just a little deeper. So we're going to plant those. It's about 3-4 inches from the top of the pot. And we're going to kind of just stagger them around the edge. And we don't want them too close to each other, because we want to use them all the way around the pot. And usually you want to put the nose going up and the flat side down, but daffodils will find their way. So even if you plant it totally upside down, the flowers will still come up and bloom. So we got all of those all around the pot. And then we're going to add some soil because we're going to add crocus bulbs too. And the crocus bulbs are smaller, and so you don't plant them as deep. So we're going to add some more of this black gold soil right on top of the other bulbs. And we're going to put the crocus in between the daffodils. And if you don't hit every one where they're supposed to go, don't worry about it, because crocus also find their way. And you want the pointy side up, and you can even see the old stem is at the top, so it'll show you the way that you point those up, but they will find their way up too. All right. And so those are good, and we're just going to put a little bit of soil on top of that, but we want to show them because we're going to actually plant plants on top, aren't we, Ryan?
We are. So now that we have, that'll be our spring color that'll come up in early spring, we're going to plant our pot for fall coloring. So we've gone through and chosen a bunch of, bright, fall colored plants just to kind of get us in the mood for spring. So we have, the black-eyed Susan, one of the Rudbeckia types here. We're going to use this as our kind of our focal point in the center.
All right.
So they're just going to kind of tease the roots a little bit.
Yeah.
That one's going to go right in the middle. Now we did not put any bulbs underneath that one because that one's going to goes a little bit deeper than what the bulb will actually want to come up through. So now that we have their focal point in there and all of our bulbs, we're going to put a little bit more soil around the base there. And then we can start planting our other annuals and perennials around it to give us our fall color.
What you got over there?
So we chose some other little fun ones. This is an ornamental pepper plant. It's not going to be hardy in the winter, but it's going to go long enough through the fall that kind of gives us this, really fun color and the texture. So we'll put a couple of those in there.
All right. And I'm just going to place those around, and they're going right on top of those bulbs.
And then here's another one that's kind of fun to go on the other side. It has a little different look. That one's got the round, and that one's more pointy.
Good choices. All right.
And we'll also add some of our pansies. And the pansies are nice because they come in an array of colors, and these will go through the winter. So they'll continue, if you keep deadheading them, they'll continue to bloom all fall and into the winter and early spring. So after some of that other stuff has oomphed out a little bit, your pansies will still be blooming, and then your bulbs will start coming in and filling in the pot.
All right.
And then the last one here, we have some of our little evergreen, little heathers.
That's a great
and that's
idea.
got a nice fall one there, and that one's also a nice evergreen. So now that we've kind of got our combination all put together there, we'll go in and just kind of finish packing the soil in and filling around the edges.
And it's just like planting any other planter. You want to make sure there's no holes in between the plants. You want no air pockets, and just gently pat down the soil in between all the little plants. And my favorite part is because next spring I will have forgotten that I put all these bulbs in. So all of a sudden,
always that mystery surprise in the spring. It's like, the sun's coming out, and surprise, you have all these bulbs that you forgot you put in your pot for last fall.
Yeah, so that's the best part, is you have a surprise next spring.
Well, we talk a lot about fertilizers, and we have numbers, and we have NPK. So we're going to talk about how to read a bag of fertilizer, looking at those numbers and what that NPK means and what it means to your plants. So you'll notice on a bag of fertilizer, you'll find 3 numbers, and those 3 numbers are your NPK, meaning the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium. And so the numbers represent the percentage of that element in your fertilizer. So the higher the number, the higher the percentage. And a good way to remember what these numbers mean and how these elements react to the plants is by going up, down, and all around. The first number is nitrogen, which promotes the up part, the green growth and the greenery of the top part of the plant. The middle number, the phosphorus, is the low, the down, which promotes root growth. And the third number is the all around, which is potassium, and that promotes the overall plant health. And it's important to remember not to fertilize them during the heat of the day. We want to make sure that when we do fertilize, our plants are well watered, we apply our fertilizer, then we water them again to make sure we've washed all of that fertilizer off the foliage. And with any of the fertilizers that we choose or pick out, make sure you read the label for application rate. And remember, when we're picking out our fertilizer, up, down, all around, NPK. By applying a little bit of fertilizer, our plants will be healthy and strong.
Fall in the Northwest is
The best time of year to plant.
with warmer soils and cooler evenings.
A time to spend with family and friends.
Fall is a time to celebrate.
To decorate.
And to enjoy the colors that are only found here in our area.
Fall is a time to come to Garland Nursery.
And let us show you all that fall can be.
Garland Nursery, inspiring beautiful and bountiful gardens.
Since 1929, Grimm's Fuel has powered great gardens around our area. With our comprehensive composting and yard debris services, we can apply quality garden mulch, compost, and blended soils with our experienced crews and trucks, including our landscape rock and bark products as well. We are proud of our industry-leading state-of-the-art composting facilities. We also can take care of your fuel oil and firewood needs. Grimm's Fuel, building great gardens since 1929.
At Blooming Junction, fall isn't about winding down, it's about getting ready. In the garden, start the next season off right now. Fall plantings produce healthier, more robust, and drought-tolerant plants than those planted in spring or summer. In the kitchen, get ready for the holidays with fresh, organically grown produce from our fields. So, whether it's for the garden or for the kitchen this season, Blooming Junction is your place for quality, uncommon plants and produce for your home and garden.
It's fall and we're out here with Ron out at Blooming Junction. Now, Ron, is a great time to be planting our shrubs and bushes and perennials, and you guys have a great selection. So why is now a great time to plant?
Well, you know, fall is a good time to get your plants in the ground. During fall, up until, you know, your first freeze, a lot of the energy is going into root growth, which really helps in the spring. You get a much bigger plant. Perennials, you'll find, you know, the first year you plant a perennial, it looks good and everything, but it's really that second season you just get this explosive plant, bigger blooms, bigger plant and everything. So you kind of get a jump on there. Also in spring, you know, our weather's so inconsistent, you have a smaller window. You know, it's rainy and muddy, and then it's concrete. You know, in fall, it's a lot more consistent time to plant. And we get the free spring, fall rains.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you know, and you know, with our soil temperatures are still warm. Where
Exactly.
You're get that
the soil's still warm. You know, like winter pansies is a good example. You want to get your pansies in before the soil dips below 50 degrees. And then in spring, they just explode. They double in size. You might have a little sparse bed in the fall, and then in spring, that thing is full. And that happens with a lot of the perennials.
Right. And we hear, you know, spring is still a good time to plant too, but are there some perennials that are better planted in the spring than in the fall, or are we pretty safe for planting everything?
Yeah, I have an example of some of the things that work really well planted in the fall. And this is for early spring bloomers, the coreopsis, the dianthus, the carnations, your salvia here, and leucanthemums.
Right.
And then summer bloomers, we have here the phlox, the sedum, and the things like heucheras and things like that.
Right. So, I mean, you can't go wrong planting everything in the fall or in the spring, but it is better to do that. So.
Yeah, and some things to keep in mind, you know, in the fall, don't fertilize, unlike spring.
Right.
You don't want to stimulate a lot of growth.
No.
You just want that plant to settle in and take root.
Right, because by the time it gets established, and then in the spring when you have that more established root system, the plant's just going to come out much more robust and get those bigger,
and you're also
bigger
not
blooms.
competing for weeds and things like that as you do for spring planting.
Right.
You know, for the most part, weed germination is very low right now.
Right, and you know, and there's still a wide selection of material this time of year that, you know, you can still see some of these things that are blooming and have been throughout the summer.
Exactly, and for a lot of garden centers too, this is when they do clearance sales. So.
Right, so
it's a win-win.
Right, it's a great time to pick some of this stuff up and to see them blooming now. So so you know what you're getting into.
That's a great point
in the system. And you guys still have a large selection out here.
We do. We sure do.
And you also have a lot of your fall decorating.
Yeah.
Ideas too. So you know, the corn stalks and these pumpkins that you're growing.
Right,
also.
lots of mums, everything you need for fall decor right now.
Right. So you know,
and the weather's just beautiful. Very cold in the morning.
Right.
It's fine.
And we had that period of rain where it kind of loosened up the soils and got that wet, so it's much easier to dig into. And now with the warmer temperatures, we can get things coming. So So you guys have a great selection out here, you know, so you can go onto your website and check out what's going on. And
Yep.
things going on, you know, throughout the fall. So, you know, for more information about, you know, Blooming Junction or about the show, go to gardentime.tv and we can click you over. So, Ron, it's been a pleasure being out here. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Ryan.
being out.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Great. And how much cargo room does it have?
Tons. Basically, all of that stuff will fit right here.
Even this guy?
Definitely.
I love it. What's next?
Well, financing can be done online, and if you're ready to test drive, we can bring it to you.
Wow. No wonder everyone told me to go to Capital Subaru. Thanks, Shelby.
You ready to get back on the road again?
Definitely. 2020 isn't canceled. It just looks different. Shop online, by phone, or in person. Your way at Capital Subaru.
At Sagawa Nursery, we always talk about taking your garden from ordinary to extraordinary. For us, that means bringing you the newest and best plants and unique garden items to you, our customer. For you, that means we'll help you transform your garden into something that's extraordinary. We also have some great gift items and even a few surprises for inside your home, too. Sagawa Nursery, growing beyond the ordinary.
A destination farm and garden market featuring the very best each season has to offer. Smith Berry Barn offers seasonal farm fresh fruits and vegetables and specialty herbs and perennials. Visit the historic barn for distinctive gifts, gourmet foods, and homemade milkshakes.
Currently available, multiple varieties of apples and pears.
Centrally located off of Shoals Ferry Road between Sherwood and Hillsborough. Smith Berry Barn, growing good taste from the ground up.
The biggest sale of the year is on now. Huge savings on perennials, trees and shrubs, pottery, patio furniture, and more. Don't miss it. Our biggest sale of the year is on now. Al's Garden and Home in Woodburn, Sherwood, Gresham, and Wilsonville.
I am at a very unique part of the Rogerson Clematis garden at Lusher Farm, and I am in the Clematis test garden with Linda Butler. And Linda, this is cool. I think people don't kind of wander down here too much.
Right. Well, some of these clematis aren't particularly showy.
They're so cool though.
But they are very unique. And one of the things that we just talked about yesterday at our members only event is what's new in the test garden. And what's really new is some clematis native to the southwestern or southeastern United States that have been part of a big 10-year-long study, and these are going to be new species.
Ooh.
And I can't mention any names because they haven't been officially published yet.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. But this one, I actually know what its name is going to be.
And she won't tell us.
I
so
won't
she
tell
is
you,
a
but
good
it's
secret keeper.
But I will say it's named after someone.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are really, really interesting clematis, and we really came to know them by their location, where the seed was collected. So this was collected in the Coosa River watershed, which is Alabama, Tennessee, and then down into Georgia. Oh. We have one from Big Piney River, Arkansas. And so we just refer to them by the location where the seed was sent to us. But these were grown from wild collected seed. And what's really interesting about these is that the pollinator for this would be the ruby-throated hummingbird on the East Coast. And of course here, our hummingbirds go, oh, it smells great and it's tubular, we're all over it. So we actually can't save seed from these because the hummingbirds have been everywhere. So for this one in particular, we dug up a couple of our specimens, we divided it, we also took cuttings from it, and we are also keeping a stock plant in the greenhouse where the hummingbirds can't get.
Okay.
So we will have seed.
And tell us about the bees. The bees are just so unique for these plants.
I know, it's really funny. So hummingbirds, of course, have that bill, and they go right up to the nectar chamber, and they're sucking the nectar out of that. And then bumblebees are big, strong bees, and they muscle their way in past this absolute plug of stamens. The stamens are just packed in there. Now, the European honeybee can't do that because it's too little and weak. So what they've been doing, and I'm going to pick this and then you guys can do a close-up, but you'll see where the hummingbird or the bees, the European honeybees, have come in and actually pull the sepals apart. Now they're not pollinating anything when they do that. They are circumventing their job, and they're getting in there and sucking the nectar out without crawling up through this very, very dense plug of stamens.
And there's something going on today. You have a plant sale, which we love plant sales, and this is the last one of the season.
Right. So our members had their members-only event last evening. We did a happy hour kind of thing that involved a Zoom presentation about these plants. And then those who were local and here, when I was done with the Zoom presentation, we came down and did a social distance wander through the test garden. And then they got to shop early.
Oh, that's a good membership.
We have
benefit.
4 members-only events a year, one every quarter, and the members get to shop every time we do one of those. And in this case, they got in, early before our big end of the season sale.
Right.
But we have 2 Clematis varieties on sale. We've got Mountaindale, which was sold out at Plant Nerd Night in February, and we have more of those. It's a beautiful, locally selected form of Clematis macropetala, and then we also have Bijou, which is a great little container Clematis. I'm going like this because it flowers when it's this tall.
Cool.
It does climb, but it just never climbs very far.
Ah.
And it's great for containers. I've seen people use it for edging.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So those 2 are on special for $15 each.
So you can watch the rest of the show because this is starting at 10 o'clock today. Come out to Lusher Farm in Lake Oswego and really kind of get your fill of clematis. The gardens are gorgeous. You might even see Linda around. There's people to answer all your questions. Please go to gardentime.tv and you can get all the information. Linda, so much fun. Thank you.
Oh yeah, we're excited.
Thank you for watching Garden Time. Hey Judy, I don't think this one's quite ripe yet.
Well, don't worry, Ryan, because all the independent garden centers are going to have ripe pumpkins for you to choose from.
For more information on today's show or any of our other episodes, go to gardentime.tv. Judy and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week on Garden Time.
They're here! Grab yourself a Garden Time face mask and breathe easy. These masks are one size fit all with elastic straps that hold them securely in place. The nose piece can be shaped to your nose so there's less chance of foggy glasses. Plus they're embroidered with the Garden Time logo. They come in black, charcoal gray, and navy blue. Simply go to gardentime.tv and click on the store. Get your face mask and be safe in the garden. The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.